little bit about that and your journey, but I'm curious in what way you had your awakening. Was it one-on-one with Fred? Curious how that happened.
Yeah, it was a one-on-one session with Fred. It was 4 years ago, May of 2019.
Mm-hmm.
I had been, prior to that, a seeker for, 2 decades at least. And I had read all kinds of books. I watched all kinds of videos. Every major non-dual person you can think of, I had watched their videos. And like no one got me there. And
Yes.
so then, just as luck would have it,
Yes.
YouTube pushed me one of Fred's videos because I'd
Hmm.
watched so many other
Right,
non-dual.
right. Right.
And I watched it, and at one point he said, he had great success in waking people up. And,
Mhm.
5 minutes later, I was on his website signing up for an awakening session.
Yeah, yeah.
And I had really no idea of what to expect, and the whole thing just went so fast. It's just, I think it overwhelmed the brain a bit. But a few
Hmm.
things he said that really kind of penetrated. One was he was talking about if you chopped up the brain into like four quarters,
Hmm.
where would the person be? Where's the person in there? And I was like, huh. Um, and I think I'd had some, awakenings prior. I
Yes,
just didn't know what they were.
right.
Fred flipped the whole script.
Mm.
It went from this person trying to awaken to,
Mm.
awakening.
Yes,
And
yes.
that I did never grasp from anyone else.
Hmm.
And he was the only one that's ever been successful of all the people I've watched, and kind of penetrating here. Um, so, and then, in the 4 years, I've gone to, I went to this first satsang after the awakening. He said, come to satsang. I said, okay.
Yeah.
And I went to the very first one after our session, and I've been going ever since. I've missed only, a handful in
Yes.
years. So, and that repetition has been incredibly valuable.
Yeah.
Fred is like the hammer of truth. He doesn't let, the self-identification creep back in.
Yes.
Constant reinforcement,
Yeah.
and it sinks in. It works. Yeah,
Great. Yeah.
I had a few tiny glimpses just from other people, but
Yeah.
Fred is the real deal. Talk about there being no person, but Fred, like, it becomes experiential. It's not just
Yes.
to talk about it.
Yes.
And the in the character world, there's a lot of stresses and strains on the character.
Yeah.
And I know in some of the meetings we've had in Satsang and other meetings, there's just been this huge feeling of relief from the stresses and strains of being a character, that is so indescribable that it's not like bliss like people think, but it's so filled with peace that
Yeah.
it's hard to even describe. Yeah, the character's
Yeah.
always trying to use the relative world to fix
Yeah.
relative
Fix things.
problems, and that's not so successful.
Right. 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 So you spoke. Did you realize when you had your awakening that after that there would be a need, so to speak, of clearing in order to um, just be the true nature that you are?
No, I thought, like so many people, I thought it was a one and done kind of thing. I thought, okay,
Um,
Fred's gonna wake me up. That's it. All done.
uh-huh.
I did
Mhm.
not realize the whole part about clearing until I joined Satsang,
Yes,
and
yeah,
and it came
yeah.
up and Fred talk about it. And, oh, okay. I didn't understand that part at all. Yeah, he may well have told me that during the awakening session. Yeah, used to listen to uh, Rick Archer and the Buddha at the Gas Pump videos. I watched all kinds of dozens of those videos, and
Mhm.
he knows the whole process thing, and he would always ask whoever he was interviewing, so this is the process, right? And they would always say, yes, it's a process. So I knew it, I'd heard it dozens of
Mhm.
times, but for some reason, I just couldn't get it through this thick skull here that I still had this, belief that it would happen in one big
It's not
fell
true.
swoop.
Well,
Yeah, I think it arises just from so many people talking about certain experiences they've had.
yes,
And Fred makes it pretty clear the experience or no experience, neither one are actually needed
yes.
because there's
Yeah, they're
no,
not it. They're
they're not
not
it.
it.
They're not it. And there's no one here to experience it. So it could happen without the character, the memory even recognizing that it
Yeah,
happened.
yeah.
Fred,
Well,
start with the awakening and then the
yeah,
clear.
I mean, there are just so many people in our community that have recognized true nature and are just on a clearing path, like basically, just you
Yeah,
feel that having an awareness of inquiry, how has that impacted you, Mike? Having
uh,
um, that available, the
I've never
inquiry.
I've never been one to do like steady inquiry like Fred talked about.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um, it's more just a simple recognition. It's
Mhm.
things just come up that remind you. I don't know why that is, but it's just, oh yeah,
Happening.
yeah. There's been a lot more recognition of those patterns, and it's like, oh,
Yes.
there's that pattern again. One of the patterns is this, you know, feeling up something I've said is, unskillful or whatever. Like, oh man, why did I say that? And then, oh wait a
Shouldn't
minute,
have said that, right? Shouldn't have
yeah, I
said
should
that.
have said that.
Yeah.
And then wait a minute, that's falling back into the dream world again.
Yeah.
you know,
Yes. Yes. Yeah. That's
so
wonderful.
a lot of those patterns just so much clearer than they were
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
couple of years ago.
Great. So you spoke a little bit about what's unique about Fred from other teachers. If you I think it's helpful to newcomers to share that if other things occur to you, or just what would you like to say to newcomers about the just the value and the miracle that the living method is?
Yeah, I think it's part of what I was saying before, this overwhelming sense of relief because when you're outside the character, that's where true freedom is. Characters are looking for freedom in the dream world. True freedom is outside the dream world. It's
Mhm,
hard to convey that until it's been felt and experienced.
mhm,
Then it's like, oh. and,
mhm.
and the other thing about with Fred is it seems like a lot of the other teachers, and not all of them certainly, but some of them have had an awakening and they're kind of telling you where they are. They don't tell you how to get there. So like they're in sunny San Francisco. It's beautiful. The skies are blue,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
ocean there. And you're like, well, that's great, but how do I drive to San Francisco? And
Yeah.
Fred he wants to, he recognizing there's no character, but he still has a way of pulling you to San Francisco that the other
Yes.
teachers don't do that. I don't know if it's part of it's his words, but I think part of it's just the energy that he conveys. It's an
Yes.
energetic
That
thing.
way. Is there anything you can share with newcomers about the value of obviously clearly awakening first, but the value of being in a small group clearing series for them?
Yeah, I think the value is you're not so much on the spot. Um,
Mm,
you know, you
mm.
you're hearing it, and you're understanding it, and getting it, but you don't feel like you have to.
One on one, if you have a clearing series, Fred will be, asking you, questioning you if he hears unconsciousness or dream talk happening in the in group clearing series. You can participate or not, but whether you are or not, you you don't have to be one-on-one, and you can still see that playing out and still um, have the benefit of clearing through someone else clearing, because there's only one thing going on.
Right, right. And
Yeah.
well, and the questions that other people have
Yes.
are useful. And if you're asking questions that are useful to other people, so there's a bit of a group dynamic
Yes, 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 yes.
that's always
It's a
helpful.
yes, it's a very wonderful thing. Okay. So anything else that you would like to add, or shall we say goodbye for now?
I would just say if you're considering uh, having an awakened session with Fred or a clearing session, it's totally worth it. It's life changing if there's a
Yes,
life here, but it's been life changing here.
yes.